Hi, this is Rachel Tannenblatt. I'm going to be showing you in this video how you can use Google Slides to create a music worksheet with movable objects for your students to manipulate. First, I'm going to set a background. I just want something kind of neutral. I did a Google image search for autumn border and just found something that wouldn't distract too much from everything else on the page. So I've got that, and now I want to add my music elements to the worksheet. I already downloaded the big free music notation library from Midnight Music, and so when I open up the image browser, I can navigate right to that. If you don't have images already saved on your Google Drive, you can just do a search. You can just open up a separate tab and just do a Google image search and find the things that you need. But I already have them here, courtesy of Midnight Music. So I'm going to start by adding a 5-line staff. You have two ways that you can add it. If you click this insert button, it's going to close out your image browser when it's done. But I don't want to close my image browser because I have more to do. So instead, I'm just going to click on the image that I want and drag it onto my project. And it keeps the browser open so that I can add more. Because now I need to add a treble clef. So I can select that. This is the last one. So now I will just click insert and it closes out my image browser. So I'm going to resize that. I actually want to make my staff lines a little bit bigger. You don't have to worry about it going off the edge of the page because that part will just get clipped. So I'm going to make it big enough for my students. I do want to crop some of this white, so I'm using the crop feature there so that there isn't a huge amount of white space. I like a little bit of white space. I think that it helps students to not be distracted. A little bit of white in the background. There we go. Okay. I'll move my treble clef over to the side. Resize it so that it fits the staff appropriately. And there we go. Okay. The last thing that I need to add before I save this is going to be text for instructions. So my instructions for this are going to be drag the notes onto the staff to notate a C major scale. I make my font big enough so that students will be able to see the instructions clearly. I also noticed that because my background is a little bit busy, it might be helpful to use a filler color in the background. I go to fill when I'm selecting my text, and I actually want to use a custom color because there you can do something pretty fun, which is edit the transparency. So I've got a nice little gray, orangey gray fall color, and it's semi-transparent. I just like the way that looks. Centering my text in the box. You'll see that right now my box is a top layer. I'm going to hold down Control down arrow, and now it's in the background. So I have this the way that I like it. This is how I want my worksheet to look for my students. However, I don't want to send it to them like this because at this point any student can click and move objects or accidentally delete objects. So I want to save this as a flattened image file. Oh, I also wanted to give my students a ledger line to help them because the first note in a C major scale is going to be below the staff. So I'm going to create one just using a little line tool, make it a few pixels wider. There. Okay, so now I have it the way that I want it and I'm ready to save it. You're going to go to File, Download, and then you're going to save it as an image file. Your image choices are either JPEG or PNG. I'm going to save it as a PNG. I think it's a slightly higher quality that way. So I'm going to save it and it will download it to my computer. Then you're going to start with a blank slide and you're going to find that image that was saved onto your computer and you are going to add that as the background of your slide. So I found the image that I want, and that is going to be the background. Once you add an image as the background, it can no longer be moved or manipulated in any way. It is set there for your students. You'll notice that it also clipped off anything that was outside the border, so now I have it exactly the way I want my students to see it. I don't need this version anymore with the movable objects. So you can either delete that one, or I can show you how you can just share it with students without sharing that one. So let's look at the one now. This is the one with the background the way I want it. The last thing that this needs is it needs the draggable music notes. So I'm going back to my image library. And for this version, I'm only going to give my students quarter notes, and they will use that to build their scale. I only need to add the image one time. Size it to fit. Make sure that it's going to look okay on the staff. I think that's a good size. Now here's the secret so that you can have enough music notes for your students. Once you have your image chosen, you can use either Control-D to duplicate, or you can go to Edit and you can select Duplicate from the menu there. I think it's faster to use the keyboard shortcut. So I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to click and drag it on top of the one that came before it. Now there's two images here stacked perfectly on top of each other. Use the mouse to select around it, and it has selected both of them. So now I can duplicate again, and it gave me 4 items total. Of course, I need 8 notes for my staff, so I'm going to select one more time and duplicate and drag them in position. Oops, I missed. You'll see the red crosshairs when they're on top of each other perfectly. Here we go. So now, even though it only looks like one note, it's actually 8 pitches. And so my students can select and drag it where it goes to build their scale. And it looks like it automatically duplicates each item, even though really what I've done is I've set it up like that ahead of time. So then they can put the notes, or whatever items you're using, they can put them in the order for their project. So I'm going to reset it before I share with students, so that way they will have all of their items right here. And when you share with students, you don't want to give them the version that has movable stuff. That would not be helpful. So when you're sharing, you can just click on the slide that you want, File, make a copy of the selected slide. And that's going to give you a new presentation. And it's only going to include that one slide so that you can share this one with your students. I hope that this is helpful for you, and I hope that you are able to create some awesome worksheets for your students using Google Slides. Bye for now.